Welcome back to the Chorizo Bros, you guys.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us again. We are very excited to have the entire crew back. It has been a while since we were able to all sit down and have a cool discussion about something we really like.
We really missed you, bro.
Thank you.
The episode definitely was missing some energy without you here.
Some big energy.
I mean, I tried to fill in your, big energy, but
He's making a joke.
Oh.
I know what you're saying. Sorry. Hey, thanks for joining us again, you guys. We are here to talk about a movie that we talked about on the road. We're going through some of our favorite books and movies, and Elephant Man got brought up in that discussion. And then whenever we finally got our days off to sync, we decided I think Elephant Man would be a really fun one to do. Happens to be in my top 3 favorite movies. I know it's the kind of movie that isn't for everybody, but I wanted to get these guys in on it and have a cool discussion because I've got some stuff to say about it and want to get your guys' vibe on it.
Okay.
So, in true Chorizo Bros fashion, the expectation moving forward is that you've seen the movie at least. We don't want to spoil it for you. So, these guys are going to do a pretty spoiler-free review, real quick thing, and then we're jumping into the discussion. We're going to talk about stuff that happens, and if you've never seen this movie, you don't want that spoiled. So, that's a warning. We're going to do our quick little spoiler-free-ish review, and then we're going to jump in. So, Art's going to take it over from here.
Yes. So, on the movie, I wasn't very big fan of it.
Fair enough.
Recommend to people? Probably not.
Wow.
I just...
Nobody. You think would like this movie.
Maybe older folks, maybe if you're curious about, should I call them freaks? I don't is that old?
The historical freak show.
Yes. Probably not if you're into all that stuff. Maybe this will be a good movie to watch, but not if you're gonna want to watch a movie or something to watch. I won't recommend anything.
What's the quick? Why do you think no one would like this? Because if you're saying nobody should watch this, you're saying you don't think anybody would like it.
It's very slow to me.
Okay.
It started off very slow.
It is a slow movie.
It's and it's a lot of talking, mysterious. I guess I'm a big action person. I want to see a little bit more drama or something but towards the end you start getting a little bit more drama. But in the beginning it was kind of very slow, very kind of spooky. You know what I mean? You didn't get to see him, but I guess I wasn't
it didn't work for you.
Yeah, it didn't work for me at all. And
wow,
something that I would not mention that could be hey, you gotta check out Elephant Man. You know what I mean?
I thought you were gonna really like it.
It wouldn't be for that energy. You wouldn't recommend it to somebody in an excited kind of way. It's hey, there's this really somber, sad movie. You'd probably.
It's very sad.
It's sad. It's very sad. Well, did you have an emotional reaction to it?
Yes, I did.
See, that makes it not a bad movie. Go on. Now, we're jumping to...
So everything he said was wrong?
No, but it means if the whole point of making a piece of artwork is to evoke a feeling, and it does that, then it was successful.
So towards the end it did.
But that's the point. The whole point was to... Yeah, okay, so you just didn't like the pacing.
Yeah, there's the pacing of it that I in middle of a minute I fell asleep and I was okay.
So technically he didn't see the movie because he was asleep for 75%.
I rewinded that.
Okay, Jeremy, jump in here because honestly, it's rare that I think people would like this movie. I think it's kind of weird that I love this movie so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Art. I don't think it's for everybody. Kind of the same thing. I think it's slow. For me, what really bothered me about this movie is that I really wanted more out of the doctor, Anthony Hopkins' character. I felt like his character was very predominant in this movie, but there wasn't a journey that this character was going through at a large scale. I think he does go through some turmoil in his decisions and his actions, but it's not something that he's really struggling throughout the whole film. I mean, you kind of get it a little bit, but for me, that's what really I didn't really enjoy about the movie because I wanted to see this large kind of drama between this internal conflict with the character. And you got that a little bit, but it wasn't that much for how much screen time he got. I think the Elephant Man, the character of the Elephant Man, I thought that was great. I thought that there was that kind of large, emotional turmoils that he goes through, and you get to go along with the journey with him. But the Elephant Man and the Doctor kind of got the same amount of screen time. So it was cool that I got to see that angle for the Elephant Man, but I kind of wanted to see that same level of angle with Anthony Hopkins. I think his character was, for the most part, kind of bland, if you will. So that's, in addition to everything else about the movie being slow.
Yeah, it is.
It's in black and white, which I have kind of questions about, and that's fine.
Like, towards the end, that's when I got more into it, because he's starting to be more, like, talkative and being more open, and people are starting to react with him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, there you go. I'm starting to get more. In the beginning, it was like, golly, like, we're going to get to, like, is he going to go crazy? Is he going to, like...
Yeah. Another thing I thought that wasn't...
Was this the first time you saw this movie?
Yes, first time ever.
Cool. All right, that's
mine
noteworthy.
too.
I've seen it multiple times.
So also, one thing that it was just very predictable. This movie was, for me, very predictable. I felt like I saw the first 15 minutes and I kind of knew, okay, how this whole thing was going to play out. Like, none of the stuff that happened to the Elephant Man, like, really surprised me, So, that's just me. But I'm curious to hear, because you said it's top 3 movie.
I have a lot to say,
So,
but damn, I didn't know that this
top
was gonna.
3?
I love this movie almost more than any other movie. It means a lot to me. This movie means a lot to me.
I think I remember one time you said that this, because when I was younger, I'd have like strong emotional attachments to movies, and I'd cry like in certain movies.
Yeah.
I think I remember one time you said that this movie.
I cried on this yesterday when I watched it.
No way.
I wasn't sobbing, but I had a tear come. I was like, this
Really?
poor Elephant Man. Yeah.
I mean, no, it got me. It got me.
No, it hit me towards that. Yeah, it does.
But-
guys, that's the point.
Yeah.
It's not trying to give you action. It's not trying. The fact that
Sure.
okay, because I want to get hot right here. I'm getting pissed. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all right, bro. Get
So
pissed.
obviously, in my estimation of this, overall, this is a movie that you watch when you're in a mood. This is not a movie you put on to have a good time. This is a movie that you watch because you want to feel like if you put a sad movie on or you put a disturbing movie on, a horror movie on versus something else, you're trying to get a certain thing out of it. And when I want to feel that or when I want to experience that, every emotion that this movie takes you on is an emotional roller coaster. Did you get angry at any point?
Only when they got him, when you try to get him drunk.
Yeah, when they fuck with him.
Yeah.
That guy.
That got me mad.
That guy's pissed me off.
Yeah, like that part. Yes, I can see that when they started.
I got sad.
Towards the end, I got sad.
Right. I was happy when they were giving him gifts. When they'd give him the grooming thing, and he's so nice, and then the lady comes from the theater, and he's befriending them, and you're like, oh, like his life has been so fucking horrible. And just having tea with like a nice lady, I was like, that's so not. That's so. I mean, what does he say? I wrote it down. It was just one thing, and this is after you've seen him get abused, beaten, literally beaten, emotionally, physically, everything. Just beat. Everything is terrible for him. He's sick the whole time. He looks like shit. He looks like a fucking silly putty that someone left in the cushions. Like you had silly putty in the backseat of the car and you forgot it was there and then you grab it. That's Elephant Man's face. It's not real guy. It's fine. I'm just insulting a fucking fake character.
I thought it was a real.
He was a real guy, but this guy is not. This thing is not real.
Right. I mean, I don't know if I said that I didn't like it because I liked it. It just wasn't like I probably wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I thought it was a great movie. There was just a lot of the things that I want to see a movie wasn't there, and that's why it wasn't like one of my. It's not going to be in my top.
Because I think every because it hits all the because that's what it's an emotional movie, and I completely disagree with the. Okay, Anthony Hopkins' character Treves is kind of the protagonist of this movie. You mentioned that they had pretty much equal screen time, right? I actually think his emotional journey is pretty. It's pretty chaotic. He presents himself in that cold, like English way, so it's very you don't see it, but you know what's happening underneath. Like, you know that he's running around trying to get this patient in, and he's like hiding it from his boss. So you see a little bit of the drama there. It starts off with him on the screen. He's the first character you see, and what is he doing? He's observing the freaks. He's looking at the different things. So yeah, you're totally right about that. But I think he doesn't. They don't do that on purpose. The reactions he has when he sees the Elephant Man for the first time, they go through a dark corridor and they descend. You literally see them go downstairs to find out where he is, and he gets a tear.
Yeah.
For me, I guess because I have like this actor background, you know, I get what you're saying, where you can kind of, as the audience member, fill in the blanks as to what this character might be feeling. But for me, I appreciate the art of letting an actor, with either dialogue or screen time or just writing, how that actor can kind of go through that. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but for me, that's kind of what I like to see in a movie. Because yeah, you're right. He does go through all of these emotional roller coasters, but it's very subtle. And you, as the audience member, fill in the blanks, and that's fine. And I think for you, for
that's what I liked.
Yeah, you liked it. You're like, dude, don't fill in the blanks for me. I'm not.
I am a don't fill in the blanks for me all the way guy.
Yeah.
I want to interpret it the way I want to see it.
Sure.
I think what you said was very astute about how the movie starts off, where you go, well, is he going to go crazy? Is he a bad guy?
Yeah.
Is he a monster? It's filmed very much like that on purpose to make you feel like what everybody else feels when they see him for the first time.
That's interesting, because I didn't actually get that vibe.
No, it's apparent.
I get that.
You almost feel like it's Frankenstein or something.
Yes, there you go. That's what I was like. Is he gonna be a monster? Is he gonna be? He's gonna be smart. He's gonna help people out. Or
is he misunderstood?
Yes, exactly. I guess.
But it's filmed scary music, or the music is kind of intense.
Yes, very like
the way it's viewed is dark.
That was
shadows.
Really good.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah, and then
when I first started off, I'm like, okay, what is this?
But that's the point.
But
the
introduction.
The introduction is making you feel like how most people feel when they see him.
Yeah, and
it shows that nurse who. She gets scared. Yeah. Take the oatmeal up to him, and she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because in a place like that, all those nurses talk to each other. And so someone dropped him off, and that nurse was like, did you hear the doctor? Miss Mothershead, I think, heard the older woman.
Yeah.
You know she gossiped at some point. There's some kind of freak upstairs.
Yeah.
But she liked
So in her head, she's thinking, there's a monster up there. Mm-hmm. And then one of the guys goes, take the oatmeal up to him. And so she's going up there going, oh, there's something scary back there.
Yeah.
She screams. This is all intentional. This is all, okay, it either hit for you or it didn't. But I was very much aware of how it was shot, the order it's going in, the fact that it tricks you into thinking it could be a bad guy.
Yeah.
This is a monster. They treat him like a monster.
They do. I mean,
and it was frightening the way it was shot. Like when they first showed him, like he's kind of he's really far back at the bed.
Yeah.
And you don't really get a close up view
or see him. Remember when they take him off and he's behind the sheets, the curtains?
Yeah.
And he's just like standing there like that.
So there's.
And I was like, what is he, man? Like,
I believe, and I'll edit this if it's wrong, but I believe in the first Friday the 13th movie with Jason.
Mm-hmm.
The killer has just a sack on his head, and I'm pretty sure that movie came out before this one.
Oh, yeah,
so it even has that connection
right.
of.
No, you're right. It does.
He doesn't have the hockey mask yet.
He doesn't have the hockey
mask. He has
mask
just a sack on his head, and so
I
think if you're a moviegoer at this time, you would have connected the two, that he has that sack on his face. Of course he's hiding his deformity.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of cluing you in that maybe this is a scary guy. So there's these all, again, for me that really hit, because it was like, and then as he opens up, go on. I want you to say, because if you guys let me, I'm just going to keep talking about this.
Well, I mean, just like how you're saying, because Jason did have a water damage face, right? He got grounded. That's why it was all bubbly. That's why he put on that.
Oh, I didn't know that. So the Jason character is also like Elephant Man, where he's got a deformed face.
His face looks fucked up.
Yeah, his face is like,
Okay.
But I was more so trying to connect the...
Well, I don't know what you mean, because then I saw it, like how you're saying that. I was like, oh yeah, why is he wearing that mask? Is he a monster out there?
Right.
And how like you look at Jason, you're like,
are we gonna find out he's a killer or something?
Exactly. Yeah.
I
see what you're talking about. Like,
well, I've seen the movie, so I know what it is. But like, I kind of wish I was like in your shoes watching it for the first time.
I was really
because I remember when the first time.
Is this a scary movie?
Can I explain, like? So when I was getting into movies as a young man. I'm talking about as an adult, going back and going like, hey, I want to watch movies from the 70s. I want to watch movies from the 80s. Not necessarily something I grew up, but like something that like was a big deal or whatever.
Has some like movie historical significance.
So yeah, like watching Pulp Fiction or something. I didn't see some of these things when they came out, so I watched them as an adult. Having that perspective, I think, is really, really unique. And the thing is, with Elephant Man, I already knew who this director was. David Lynch, the director of this, is known for making surreal movies. Y'all may or may not have seen these movies. Mulholland Drive, Lost Highway, Eraserhead. These are movies that are really, really strange, and they're almost like nightmares. They're almost like you're kind of watching a film as a nightmare. And this is his most cohesive movie. This is the movie that's just a regular storyline. There's barely any surrealism here. There's definitely some shots where you go, what the hell is... It's his most structured movie, and it's his best one, in my opinion.
There are little aspects of it, like in the very beginning, and like not seeing the elephant
showing
man,
the elephants,
and the mom, being attacked, and that aspect was very kind of nightmare-ish-y, where you're not really.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Don't know what's going on.
And when he gets that nightmare, when he falls asleep, it goes into like a dark hole, and then you hear the elephant sounds in the background. Mm-hmm. Like, he's having that nightmare again about him getting stomped on when he was in the womb. That's crazy surviving that, right? Like.
So was that an actual...
No, that's bullshit for the freak show. It's to make it sound more exciting to people paying a couple of coins to go see a freak. It's just a dramatic story to tell. Come on, bro, that obviously didn't happen. This is a real movie. This is a realistic movie.
Sure. Yeah.
So that was just more so like from the jungles of whatever, and it's just like it's bullshit.
There is a real person who was like looked like Elephant Man, right? Like had deformity like that.
This is based on a real person.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is.
So one thing I was curious about was like, so this was done in the 1980s. Do y'all know why? I didn't look this up. Do y'all know why it was shot in black and white? I have a theory as to why.
I have a theory also, but I don't. There's actually two things that I think.
I thought it was in black and white. Honestly, you told me, I was like, no, it was filmed in 1980. I was like, oh. Yeah.
They made it black and white to fit the look. Why do you think it is?
Scariness.
That makes more sense.
I feel like you don't like that it's black and white.
Well, no, I think it was fine. But what I was thinking is because the Elephant Man. And it was 1980. I feel like the costuming and makeup of Elephant Man.
It looked like shit.
Yeah, if it was in color, you would. Yep.
That's got to be it.
Yeah, it would be kind of weird. It wouldn't look as real. Like in black and white, there's a lot of things you can hide. The color of the skin, the deformities.
I bet you if you saw it would look like paper mache or it would look shitty.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what my theory is on it.
Yeah, and I think that also fits a mold with it wanting to look timely. But
I think it does add to the fact that you more so feel like you're there.
Yeah, definitely. It felt like
You could trick someone into thinking this was an old movie from black and white. You could, even earlier than that. Yeah, you could. You could probably trick someone into believing that this was done.
Anthony Hopkins was that old?
I know.
Well, no. I mean, this is the idea that David.
I was like, man, it's black and white.
So
in 1980, I was like, what?
One of the complicated things about. Wait, were you about to say something?
No.
No, say it.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
All right, it sounded like you were about to be like one of the things. So, the thing about this character, Elephant Man is a character, and it starts off and you almost feel like you're getting tricked. And again, that's intentional, but the reason he doesn't talk right away is why do you think that is?
Well, first watching it, not knowing, I just thought that he was uneducated, like he's deformed, he has
maybe he was
undeveloped. So he's like he's not talking because he can't because he's got maybe the mind of a infant.
What's Anthony? Is Franklin, right? His name, the character he plays.
Treves or Treves?
Treves. His last name's Treves. I don't remember what his first name is.
Well, Treves. He's even said I think he's retarded in the head. Remember he tells him that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean that's. And I was
because
you think he's a smart man or this?
He calls him not an invalid. He calls him something imbecile or something.
Imbecile.
Yeah, he calls him something.
But I mean, if you look at him, you can't help but think
you would think that.
Yeah, exactly.
But his the psychology of this character, his silence and his it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah, well, like I told you, he got beat
and then
by
you
his
see
owner.
how it's not his owner. No one can own a person. No one's
Okay,
supposed to own a person. No, I know. I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
His fucking slave master.
Yeah, whatever he can.
Gosh.
Yeah, that guy's dude. Tell me, I was going to ask you from an acting
That's
perspective, how great was that actor?
He was
the
fantastic.
guy that his proprietor, the guy that ran the freak show.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
He was so good, dude. His fucking performance, because I bet you that guy's he's probably a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But he looks like he drinks too much gin, and he gets pissed off for no reason, and he's
one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. It's kind of small, but I love the scene where I think they're at the staircase and they're about to have that altercation. And what's the guy's name? Dirks or
the guy we're talking about? Bites.
So Bites is kind of telling him you're kind of doing the same thing, or he's kind of insinuating.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite scene because they're the way it's shot. They're kind of both standing at eye level. They're almost like mirror. They totally look different.
Yep,
but it's
that
like
was intentional.
Mirror.
Yeah.
It was like a mirror. It was like looking into a mirror, and it's man, that was my favorite scene.
In the beginning, I felt the same way too. I said, you're doing the same thing to him that the circus did.
And that's the emotion. That's the change that Anthony Hopkins Treves goes through. Yeah. That's the point of his emotional thing in this movie.
Yeah, that's his emotional journey.
Is he comes to terms with the fact that he was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
It was under the guise of medicine, but he was doing it for his career. He was doing it for.
And then
so when the guy, one of the things that they say to each other when he goes and he's like, "Hey, let me take him to the hospital and whatever." What Treves says to or what Bites says to Treves, his exact line is, "We understand each other completely."
Oh man, that's great.
And it's a knockoff. It's a nothing line.
Yeah.
It's a nothing line. It's just for the sake of okay, we have a deal. But he says specifically, we understand each other completely. Yeah. Meaning,
they're the same.
They're the same.
Yeah, the same person. Yeah, but just
now, why would if that's Treves' emotional journey, it's a mirror, exactly like you said. That's a point. When they go to scare Elephant Man later, how does that asshole that gets people from the bar and he sells them tickets to go look at him?
Yeah.
How does he freak Elephant Man out?
By showing himself in the mirror.
Because looking at yourself
is scary.
And seeing the monster looking back is scary.
Yeah.
That guy, I don't like that guy.
That's cool, man. I didn't think of that. That's awesome.
That's the point of this movie. I mean,
that's when he screams. You would think that the Elephant Man would be screaming and he's getting poured alcohol on him. He's getting thrown around.
He kind of accepts it.
He's just this is kind of, I'm used to it. But the mirror gets shown to him, and that's when he screams. That's crazy. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so there's that's his emotional journey in this is how do I come to terms with that's what I'm doing, but I don't want to be that. Mm-hmm. And then Elephant Man starts calling him friend, and he starts his defenses. There's a part where you actually kind of see it again. This is why you don't see it. Treves is a very all his stuff is hidden behind the thing. They all of the interactions, when you see the minutes at the meeting, and they're oh, okay, and they're there's always this political power struggle going on, this stuff with his boss. There's always the Princess of Wales, the Queen of Wales, yeah. So all these political things they're high intensity things internally, but he doesn't look different. But he's well aware of all these things and where his standing is, and getting one over on somebody, and he only really gets pissed at Bites. Get out of here! Who let you in here? That's it. And then the other guy who puts the mirror in his face. That's when he lets all that stuff he's bottling up. It comes out as rage. Mm-hmm. It comes out in a big way because it's most of the time it's just it's behind.
The Elephant Man, I feel like the actor who did.
Can we talk about that? Do you guys know who he is?
No.
Yeah, he's an alien.
He's an alien.
Yeah, he's an alien.
I'm sorry, I yelled that into the mic.
He's the guy who's on
the guy that gets the thing on his face.
Yeah.
No way.
That's Elephant Man.
Yeah, that's Elephant Man.
Every
Dude,
movie we've
he's
been
fantastic.
watching,
Yeah.
we have some
Yeah.
type of each character.
Right?
In each
Yeah, and he had a thing on his face in both movies.
That is great.
Oh man.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I was going to bring that up at some point.
That's
Yeah.
cool, bro.
Because I looked him
didn't
up. Because dude, I think Anthony Hopkins did well. The Bites did well, but I think he killed it.
I think all of them did.
Yeah, all of them did great.
The nurse, the old nurse.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Elephant Man. I think he was pretty good as an actor. But
He was my favorite character.
I didn't think.
I actually really liked
Cool.
Treves' wife. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
enjoyed her character. When she's like crying from hearing kind of what he's and the Elephant Man's just kind of stating facts about his life.
His life, yeah.
And she can't even contain herself. She has to like look away and just start sobbing. Like that's another part that got me. I was like, man, dude.
Yeah.
Because you kind of almost feel the same way the wife does. You're like, wow, can't believe that this guy's went through all these horrible,
Right.
horrific things.
She looks at it through an emotional thing, and then she has a reaction to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine actually living
That
scene and like not having that emotional.
that scene where that's that one you're talking about, where Treves again, it's all very subtle. They're little things they're doing, little expressions. He asks about the kids, he looks over and he sees the fireplace and he's the mantelpiece. He goes, so what are those? Or like, are all houses like this? Do people put their pictures there? And he's like, I think so. And he goes, may I look at them? And he's like, he like catches himself because it's still.
Who catches him? Treves? Or Elephant?
Yeah, Treves catches himself because he's like, you almost wouldn't hesitate to be like, have a look at my children, have a look at but he hesitates because think about all the preparation he must have done to get his wife ready, to make sure the kids are not there, to just have Elephant Man come to his house. Maybe he spoke to the neighbors. You think he really prepared for him to be there, and he was kind of in his head about how is this going to go, what's the polite thing to do all the time.
There's kind of like a tense. Cause,
he's tense.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because also too, like, it would be more natural for him to be like, if it was just any other person that was not deformed, he'd just be like, oh yeah, here's my family, take a look.
Yeah,
this is my daughter, this is my mom, but he doesn't do that. Elephant Man has to like...
It takes him a second to be like, I should put the polite thing to just be like, oh yeah. Because he asked him like, hey, take a look at those pictures, and he's like, oh, yeah. And then he like hands them to him. Do you remember? Did you catch that?
I didn't catch that, but now that I'm like, recalling, I'm like, yeah, that I could totally see that, and I do.
And that's what I mean about these subtle actions. Dude, the acting in this, everybody was superb.
Oh, yeah,
everybody.
absolutely.
I did you buy everybody's performance? That asshole that brings the girls over?
Yeah, I did.
Pretty much everybody's great. Like the old nurse.
The old nurse,
she was great. I was like, that's a bitch that works in a hospital. That's
And
a bitch that works in a hospital.
It was cool when she was like kind of defending herself.
Yes.
And it was like
that's realistic.
She was kind of right, I can't remember exactly what her point was because she was. Treves was like, you didn't seem to be friendly with Elephant Man in the beginning, and now all of a sudden you're and I think she was. What was her argument on that?
She's like, I may have felt that way, but I'm here every day changing his sheets, feeding him, making sure he's fed on a schedule, making sure he's all this. So she's like saying, like, if that's not actual caring, then what the fuck is?
And I guess she was upset because Treves was bringing in all these people, right? Is that?
Yeah. To show him.
I think that's why she was upset, and so
she called him out for exactly what everyone else calls him out for.
Yeah.
Right.
When he has that moment when he's with his wife and he's like, "Am I doing the same thing?" That's his emotional struggle in this.
She was like one of the first ones to kind of call him out.
I think she made him think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how I felt too. Like he was doing the same thing as the other guy was doing. You know what I mean? He was doing it for some,
And look at his genitals.
Look at him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to kick him out and stuff, and then he was just like fighting for him.
And you got to think when he was doing that, was he doing that because of his career?
Or
to have his specimen like freely available to him?
Or is it more just because?
Or was it because he cared that he wasn't going to be homeless or living in a terrible hospital?
I'm kind of like the optimist in a lot of things that I really don't feel that Treves and I keep forgetting his Bites are the same at all. I actually think and argue that they're completely different. Some of their actions may come across as very mirror, but when you strip all of the actions for what they are and get down to the root, I feel like Treves is very, very different.
Yeah, well, he's a doctor for one. He cares, and he wants to take care of his scientific thing. Or as the other one was more just for money and abused, and you know what I mean.
Well, but you could argue that his reputation, his career translates to money. But the way I see it is that Treves was really doing stuff out of the norm, and made a point to like invite him to dinner, to tea, like he met his wife, that kind of stuff like that. You don't just do that. Yeah, you don't just do that if you don't have a inkling about a love.
Well,
you know what I mean?
He's absolutely a different guy than Bites, but having that, looking that in the mirror and going, "Wow, am I actually doing that?" was part of his growth.
Right, but
that doesn't mean they're complete exact mirrors of each other. It was more so like, look at this nasty thing that I'm doing that's kind of like that.
Right.
That's all it was. You're not supposed to necessarily equate them as a one-on-one, one-per-one
and he also
comparison.
The elephant man tells him that you show me love. You know what I mean? All it like.
Yeah, dude, that got me too. And he's like, I'm not used to a beautiful woman, like, because he immediately starts crying.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my, what's going on?
Yeah.
You think he would?
And you're like, man, dude. That's just
because all anyone does is fuck with him.
Yeah.
Or just
dude, when they put him in the cage with the baboons.
Oh no, like, you know what I mean, like.
Oh, that was rough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, one of the reasons that I don't know if did I read this off before, where he goes, "I'm happy every hour of the day." Did I read that earlier?
No, you didn't. No.
That's one of the lines that Elephant Man says, and that's kind of where Elephant Man is almost not. I don't want to say angelic, but he's almost like above us in a way, where he can go through all this abuse and still look at all the good things, still show people kindness.
Mm-hmm.
He's the kindest person.
Yeah, he is.
He's so kind to everybody. Again, the silence and stuff is a defense mechanism. It's because he's afraid of being abused.
Yeah.
But can you look at the movie again? Every action he has is through kindness. Every thing he says, every way he just wants to. When he's alone, he's just making a church out of cardboard.
Yeah. Or reading the Bible,
or putting his fancy clothes on.
Oh, yeah, like
he takes the photo of the actress and he pretends, "Oh, it's nice to meet you."
Yeah.
And you're like, that's so relatable. That's something a guy like that would do.
Yeah.
And you go, man, I've like fantasized about like going on a fun date with, you know what I mean, like as a kid, a young person, you know.
Yeah.
I think when he comes
or yesterday, come on.
Yeah,
dude. I mean,
you know who you are.
Oh, shoot.
But that's sort of the turning itself on his head thing, where it's like his the expectation is that he's a monster, but you go, wow, he's like legit, like nicer and like almost better than everybody else here.
Absolutely.
He's like the best one. He's like the purest heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, guys?
He comes back from.
He's physically the worst subject they've seen in a way, but inside, like no one can match him. Nobody can match him.
Yeah, he like comes back and he says no ill will toward. He's like, it's okay, my friend. Like,
yeah,
it's don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up.
Like it's okay.
Don't worry about me.
Don't worry about me. Yeah. So, what did y'all think about the very end when he? Is it suicide? I mean, I suppose he kills himself.
That's a really good question.
I would like the way I saw it is that he just finished having an excellent day at the theater, and he was probably at the highest of highs, and he's like, you know what, I'm if this were my last day on this earth, that would be excellent.
Right. Well, they gave him a standing ovation.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Like because maybe if he continues life on, he could get into a situation like where somebody captures him again and takes him back, or he's going to be used as a piece of circus equipment, you know, and so he doesn't want that. He wants to remain at the high. So that's how I saw it.
Well, he was, and there is a line. Does John know he's dying?
Oh,
so he's also got a disease that's going to kill him.
Yeah,
right.
that's what I thought.
So there's another layer of, well, if this is my last day, that's fine.
Right.
I wanted to bring up another line, if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah.
I really did believe the ogre would never get out of the dungeon.
Oh, man,
That's after they get back from the play, and they're sitting down, and Treves, this is an elephant
Merrick
man.
Says that.
Merrick says that. And you could, again, just think kids of whatever, they watched a play, and he's just commenting on the play, and that's fine, but I'm going to read the line again. I really did believe the ogre would never get out of the dungeon.
He's talking about himself.
He's not talking about himself, but it's an allusion to...
Right.
To like, oh man, like...
Wow.
He's out of the dungeon.
I'm out of
He's
the
out of the
cage,
darkness.
Yeah, darkness, yeah.
I want to make a comment real quick.
Oh, man, that line was beautiful, dude.
Yeah,
as a writer, as
up
like somebody that like wants every line to hit, I was like when I saw it last night, I was like, I never realized that before. That line means so much.
Yeah.
I glazed
over that part.
I never thought that the ogre would get out of. He's the ogre.
But he's the ogre. Yeah.
So you know what's interesting is, since we started the podcast, and I made a mental note of this, we've always said, the Elephant Man, the Elephant Man, the Elephant Man. Up until now, since we're now getting toward the, with his
the ending of the
clothes,
story.
The ending of the story, I made a comment, and I called him Merrick. So I think that's interesting that in the very beginning we were kind of like Elephant Man, Elephant Man, Elephant Man, and now we're all of a sudden now
Merrick,
Merrick, because in the beginning you would not think this guy even had a name in the movie, and now at the very end of the movie he's the best person. He's got this warm-heartedness about him, and now we're calling him John Merrick.
Fucking
that's
brilliant,
crazy,
dude, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Because that's what the movie does that to you also, yeah.
Yeah,
because then you get how
right.
Complex.
You don't think of him as a human.
Yeah,
you don't think of him as a man.
At the beginning, I don't
no.
do that.
And I hate to say it, but when you look at the photos of actual John Merrick, dude, it's awful.
He looked fucked up.
His body, you can see like these big. They look black. I'm sure they probably actually were black. These black, grayish tumors all over like his body. It's just, oh man.
Since we're already kind of here at the end, I did want to point out some other things because, dude, I cannot tell you again. This is from like me like secretly wanting to be a writer and like really like when I examine movies or books where I'm like looking for those things, and that's why I enjoy reading so much. So I enjoy watching movies so much because I'm looking for that. That this movie has so many of those things that you don't even know. That unless you're looking for it, and some of them are really on the nose, some of them aren't, right? Like that ogre line, you would just glaze over it.
Yeah, never.
Yeah.
But
just
man,
like,
dude, last night, dude, I was sitting here, I had my sparkling water, I was sitting there drinking it, and he goes, never really thought that the ogre would get out of the dungeon, and I was like,
gosh, yeah.
Okay, right, but then there's a couple more lines, a couple more things, a couple of details that I noticed.
The people in the circus help him escape too.
I love that. Yeah, we can talk about that in a second. Yeah.
Yes.
But since we're on the end here, I kind of want to knock this out because I took a bunch of notes at the end. So he says that ogre line and then whatever. He finishes the cathedral.
Puts his name on it.
Right before he decides I'm gonna lay down and end it. When he finishes the cathedral, putting the last piece on, his last line is, "It's finished." And then he lets himself go. So it means he finished the cathedral, but that I'm fine. I did it. I can sleep now.
Wow.
It's finished.
Yeah.
So you see it, it's slow, and it's slow on purpose because you're really supposed to be like, is he doing what I think he's doing? Did you realize that that's what he was doing as it was happening?
Trying to kill himself?
That he was taking all the pillows off, and you're like, is he gonna lay down?
Yeah.
Did you think that?
No, I didn't think that he was gonna try.
You didn't know that he was gonna let himself go?
As soon as he took the pillow, one of those off, I was like, oh wow.
Okay, so one more thing about that. And again, I get all this is, dude, it's small details. It's like you're either gonna catch this stuff and it's gonna mean something to you or it isn't. When he takes the, and this is just me observing it. I didn't go and read it looking for shit. I was like, I gotta find these details myself. And I was like, wow, even that is spectacular, and it shows you who he is as a person. And it's just him getting ready to die. When he takes the pillows off the bed, he doesn't just throw them on the floor.
He puts them nice and neat.
He neatly places them because he knows there's a nurse that's going to come in there and find it.
I noticed.
And he thought it'll just be easier for her to pick up if I leave him there. He's going to kill himself. What does it matter?
Yeah.
But it was just the last little thoughtful moment of his that he thought, here's a little courtesy I can do, because it wasn't for him.
That's true.
He wasn't going to wake up and pick him up.
Yeah.
It was for somebody else to, and he doesn't.
That is something I did notice.
Did you notice that you were like, why is he taking so long doing that?
As soon as he took one pillow off, that's when I was like, wait, why is he doing this?
Oh, yeah.
And then after he took the second one, and then I'm like, gosh, why is he so neat about it? I was like, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, he's going to off himself, and he's trying to be nice about it. Like, he doesn't want to bother somebody.
He doesn't, yeah, he doesn't want to.
He killed himself because he was, like, done living that way, or he killed himself because he knew he was dying?
I think he was, at that point in his life, okay with the way he looked and the way that people were going to see him. I think he'd come to terms, I'm just going to look like this. He does have that conversation with the doctor. He's like, is there any way to cure me? And he goes coldly, and you go, because it bothered Treves.
Oh yeah,
but he didn't show it.
Right?
He didn't show it. He goes, we can make you comfortable, but no, there's no cure for this. But you can tell that the fact that he even asked him that, underneath, you know that was like, oh, man, I hate to tell this guy that he's gonna look like this the rest of his life.
He said it pretty, like you said, pretty cold. He was like,
he's a doctor.
I thought the disease he had was gonna kill him.
Well, I'm under the
impression
that what's going on with his physical appearance is different than whatever he got. So you got to think that guy made him sleep outside. You used to put him next to animals.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't eating very well. I think he got a disease unrelated to the way he looks.
Yeah.
I don't think it was this thing growing tumors and it was going to kill him. I think it was he got some kind of flu or bronchitis or tuberculosis or something. They don't say what it is. But I'm under the impression that it is unrelated to what he has, what his physical deformity is. I'm under the impression that he caught some kind of disease, and it's something they can't cure. That's what I felt. It could be. I mean, I don't know. You were shocked?
Yeah, very shocked. Because I thought like his life was going good. Like, you know what I mean? He's finding out of the circus. There's people who love him. There's people who like care about him.
That's why this is sad.
And I'm all like, man, like I was like, he's having a good life. Like, well, he wants to be treated like a human, and then he just offs himself and like.
This movie makes me sad every time I watch it.
I did think that,
and that made me sad too, because I was like, dude, like your life's already looking up. Like you're being treated as a human, not an animal.
And you remember that scene where he's like, you know, I am not an animal.
Oh yeah,
great scene, dude.
I love that part too.
Great. The one kid. Why are you covering your face, mister? Why is your head so big?
Yeah.
And he just follows him around, and you go, this motherfucker deals with that every day.
Yeah. And then he accidentally like knocks a little girl, and then everybody's like, "Oh yeah!" And they start chasing him. And I am not an animal. I think this movie has a lot of like key like sayings or famous sayings. I think that's probably
the most iconic.
Because I feel like I've seen that in other
people
movies
parody it and stuff.
Yeah,
it's from
I love that
Elephant
part
Man.
too when he screams out, "I'm not an animal!" Like I was like, "Oh shit!"
I'm a human being.
I was like, but it kind of made me sad when he did offense. I was like, why'd you do it? Like, you're getting treated as a human again, and
because it was enough.
Yeah, he was good.
I know, but like,
and he probably
it made me sad. It really did. It made me like,
yeah.
It's like, bro, like, man, your life is looking good, and like,
it's probably like what Joseph was saying with like the pillows, right? How he's really being mindful of that.
Yeah.
He's being treated really nicely by all these people. That probably also is another aspect where he's like, I feel good. Like, I'm okay with my life. Like, I don't need people to keep doing these niceties for me.
That's true.
Because I'm content. I've lived my life. Every hour is a blessing, and I don't need all these people to be doing this stuff for me. So maybe that's another reason.
Or maybe he couldn't handle the idea that he already has it rough enough, and then whatever this disease he has, again, because I think it's different than his physical deformity, whatever's killing him. Pop it open.
Okay.
Whatever's killing him, that these are two different things, right? So he already deals with his physical deformity, and then he's thinking, man, do I want to live through tuberculosis after that? Is that even worth it for me? Can't even lay down to sleep.
Sure
so maybe he thought like it's gonna get worse.
Yeah. And in that time too, I mean, having like the flu or something nowadays, it's like not that big a deal. I mean,
people would die from diarrhea.
Yeah, like that's
yeah.
Any kind of disease you get.
Because medicine wasn't a big thing yet.
Well, yeah, you just go, man. You drink a Gatorade, and eat a banana, and sleep.
Good.
Yeah, you'll be all right. But yeah, anyway, guys, like for me, I think this is like the most emotional movie. I don't know that any movie hit me Like, this movie hits me every time.
So do you think that
I wasn't under the influence of... I didn't have a beer or anything yesterday. I wasn't drinking, nothing. I didn't do... No, for real. Because
that does aid.
Because you can loosen up a little bit. And I know, I was straight-faced, whatever.
So is that why this movie is, like, at top?
It's one of my favorite movies, man, because the acting in it is superb. The writing in it is superb. The look of it. The offices where everything is, the freak show, the way that looks. The fact that they got, like, they got the vibe of it really, really good. The music in it is amazing.
Yeah.
The shots, the pacing, you guys might have thought it was slow, but, like, the point of it is that you're supposed to feel like you're immersed in it. You're supposed to sit in it, and you're supposed to look, and you go, God, I can almost smell the cheap gin they're drinking, and, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to be, like...
You can smell that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be, like... And then when the gross guy, like, has the two girls, and he's, like, kissing her, and you're like, God, this is so gross. It makes you feel everything.
That part I really do hate.
Well, and you're supposed to, man. You're not supposed to look at it like... They're not glamorizing these people. They're making them look gross on purpose.
Yeah.
So you get a sense of, like, the high class, the beautiful theater, and the way the doctor's office looks, or the Mr. Cargam. I liked him a lot.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about
Mr. Cargam. He's got the look. He looks like
he's his boss.
He's the boss. Yeah.
He's like the.
But he
the
like
hospital governor or something.
Yeah, like the administrator.
He's the one who told the guy, he's like, call the cops.
Yeah, fuck, he had his back.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
So he Anthony Hopkins feels like the whole time he has to hide it from his boss. But then you come to see that
his boss really
he kind of understands. He goes to meet him because he wants to feel out the Elephant Man. He wants to feel out Merrick, and he's still the Elephant Man at that point, grunting.
Well, he was gonna let him go.
He's parroting, and then he like his attitude towards it changes.
Until he starts reading the Bible, he starts
and realizing, hey, I didn't teach him that part.
Yeah, like what the hell? Like he's learning the.
Yeah, so that guy was.
Listen.
Yeah.
So like, name someone that did a bad job in this movie. Everything was so well done, and the pacing might not have been for you.
Yeah, it's a little slow. Like I told you, I'm like, man, this is.
That's okay. But you don't have to think this movie.
When he's starting more like talkative and being more open, that's when I got more okay.
Well, it's to show you the dichotomy of the two. It's supposed to show you.
Yeah, in the beginning, you're seeing him as a monster, an animal, not a human.
So it tricks you into doing the same thing.
And then you see him. Oh no, he's a human. He can talk. He can think. He can read.
He's gentle. He's kind.
That you like the second part of that movie better than the first part.
Yes.
It's funny because I'm actually the opposite. I like from the very beginning to like middle. Yeah. From the middle like till the end, it just didn't.
No, I like towards the end because like you start seeing him more be of a human, and I was thinking maybe he was gonna kill one of those people. He gets crazy because of all the
trees.
Because you don't know who his personality is yet.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know who he is yet.
Right.
Maybe the drug guy who was kept on like bringing up people in there to go see him.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna hurt one of those girls or something or kill him, and they were gonna kill him.
Honestly, anything could have happened.
Like because you never know because you don't know how he is. Maybe he's getting frustrated and tired of it being abused like that and.
Yeah, what if this movie had gone a different way and like you said, they brought them over there and then he flips out and he uses the stick and he hits a girl or something on accident, like not trying to.
Exactly, yeah.
And then they're like, "You're a murderer, you're a fucking monster." That could have happened in this movie.
Yeah.
So that's why
I thought something like that was gonna happen too.
Exactly, that's why I got into it. And then towards the end when he was running away, that's why I was all like, okay, there's something happening.
Yeah.
He's gonna drop the little girl in the train and the train's gonna run over.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I was like.
I think that would have been also a very interesting movie, but for me it was more so it was internal. It was like the doctor struggling with, am I just making him at a freak show again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see what you mean.
See, I think they could have played on that a little bit more. Going back to what I was originally saying, like they did, but like you said, it was kind of like subtle. It was. I wanted to see Anthony Hopkins have like a monologue or two about that.
I think it was the right amount. His character doesn't act like that. It would have been anti
too, like we were talking about
anti who his character is if he had done that. His character is it's cold. He's a doctor. He's okay. Not that this not to derail that too much, but like in the beginning when he's doing the surgery. And you see like how old the tools they had were, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
There's no sanitation.
Yeah, they don't have he doesn't have a claw.
Someone's knocking on the door.
No,
come in.
No, and one of the characters straight up coughs while the guy's okay. And you're like, "Oh shit!" That guy got gangrene.
Oh yeah. And over here now we have like vacuum suction.
Yeah. You can't even have visitors.
Yeah, I know. Come in. Anyone can come in.
Wasn't it like a little kid?
Yeah, it was a little kid.
Like, who's that? He's like, oh, just a friend.
Yes, a friend. He's like, huh?
What the fuck?
That's funny.
Okay,
it was funny. Jessica watched it with me, and I was like, man, look how unsanitizing they were.
Nowadays, we won't do.
I know, we soap in our gloves and everything.
Oh man, the cleaning process for surgery is insane.
The gangrene, that's funny.
Yeah, and he like coughs over it. You're going, damn. Well, and that's again one of the strengths of this movie is really getting reminded about the timing of it.
Change, you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, and
like you were saying, like people can die of diarrhea back in the day, and you know
how different. Yeah, this is an examination. This is also, and I don't. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, well, like also like people who were like deformed was something like unusual seeing, like because there's no like pictures or like
an encyclopedia.
Yeah, or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you see something like that.
You would have paid a nickel to go look at.
Yeah, to go see something like that. That's why everyone was a hype of like, oh, he's a monster and this and that, and
so.
As for us, we'd be like, oh, he's just born that way.
Just born that way. Like we're much more accepting of that because especially with the internet too, like we can see all kinds of stuff.
So nothing is perfect, and even though this is, if I were to walk out of here saying Elephant Man is my favorite movie, I would be okay with that statement. I love this movie, but nothing exists without its flaws, and one of the flaws of this is me trying to figure out how this stuff, how the story is being told and whatever, and trying to look for like the hidden meaning of something. There were a couple of lines that led me to believe there was going to be something about this that they didn't explore too much, and I kind of don't like that. So, again, I was like really concerned with him taking the pillows off at the end, and his last line being about the ogre that they saw at the theater, and it's finished when he finishes the cathedral, but he's talking about his life also. So there's almost everything means something, right? So the first line that Treves says, he goes, "We'll be seeing a lot more of these machine accidents. Abominable things, these machines. You can't reason with them." It's his first line. I think it's like the first dialogue in the movie too. It's like one of the first things. It's definitely the first things Treves says.
He's talking about like just equipment in general.
Well, no, the guy he's operating on got hurt.
Problem with the machine.
The guy he's operating on got hurt working at work on a machine doing something. This is about the Industrial Revolution a little bit too.
Okay.
So he's commenting on, man, this guy got mangled because of machines. So I thought, if you're gonna add that line in there, that this character is like against, or commenting on the horrors or the difficulties of moving into the industrial age, that more of that should have happened. There should have been more of that with the Elephant Man. Like that whole story should have had a commentary or a criticism.
Yeah, they didn't.
It was a line and then it didn't go anywhere.
Right.
In my opinion, if you guys saw some Industrial Revolution, aside from the look, the coal everywhere and the dirty,
I didn't see.
There wasn't really anything.
There's no correlation between that line and like
the rest of the movie, the way the movie.
Unless you want to like interpret.
Well, it's just more like you said, like the beginning of the starting of the.
Well, right, but I think that if you're going to say a line that could be a powerful line if the movie was.
Maybe he's having like an inner struggle about a patient. He could save their life, but he needs to use special machinery. But he has this like.
Or one of the characters he works with is getting kicked out of his house because they need to use that land for a factory. Or just just bringing it home. I just needed another thing, just one more thing to kind of comment on that, and I didn't get it, and I think that kind of sucked. But that's a pretty small criticism for this movie that
the only criticism you have. What other criticism do you have?
Maybe that it's not as accessible to everybody because you have to be the type to be like, okay, I'm okay with it being slow.
I think our
he didn't like this movie.
Yeah, okay. I liked it, but that was something that I'm like, this is not for everybody. I was glued the entire time, for sure.
Yeah, I got into it towards I told you half of the movie I got into it. Yeah. When he started speaking more and talking, I'm like, okay, now we're starting to get somewhere where let's see how he is.
Wow, that's crazy.
How he really reacts now to people and stuff. I really thought he was gonna hurt someone.
But they all go through emotional things.
Like
that
he's
nurse
about
that
to
freaks the fuck out.
Get crazy and do
something.
Right. But then more and more you show him he is a nice guy. He's like really cares and he's kind and he's not he's like a human being. He's like a normal dude. Like he's just tired of being abused and beat and shown as a monster. I really thought when he got all that stuff done, I thought he wanted to live longer. Like I was like, it said like maybe if I was an issue, I was like fuck, like people are starting to love me and starting to appreciate who I am. I'm being more human. Like why end your life? But once again, maybe for him that was enough.
Yeah,
and he was like he's ready to go. Hey, this has been a blessing for me to get to see a theater. People love me, who I was. You know what I mean? Instead of seeing the freak that I am. But anyways, I towards the end, like I said, I really got into it. But in the beginning, it was a little tough for me to get into. But because like you said, like they put you that scene, like, oh, is he a monster? Is he that bad looking? You know what I mean? Like then when you see him, you're like, oh, okay, he's not that bad. Like. No.
That's pretty bad.
One thing I really...
Well, I mean, yeah, if he, like, it's not like... I thought he was going to be ugly, like...
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy looking.
It's pretty spot on, too. Like, the stuff that he wore looked pretty spot on to, like, the actual images
the actual person.
That I saw.
I'd like to see a color version of what... Like, if someone took a photograph, like, what the color version... It would have looked so bad.
Ooh, Probably you're right.
No, what Jeremy said earlier about it being probably black and white to hide that, we had the same idea on that, and you worded it perfectly.
Yeah.
That's
one thing I
what I think it was.
About the acting for John Merrick is that I love the, like, kind of guttural, like... Yeah. Because when you look at him, it looks like he has issues, like, kind of talking to the side, and that was just, like, a little acting thing. I'm like, man, dude, that's great. Whoever the director, the actor's decision on that, like, that's spot on. Because you know that this John Merrick probably doesn't have any audio or video of him, so he couldn't have anything to fall off of.
Well, there were probably notes, because the doctor that helped him probably wrote, like, oh, he seems to have trouble speaking with the right side of his mouth or whatever.
Right, true.
So...
But I was like, man, that's so good. And you just really felt... Like, it almost looked as if it's like a documentary.
Yeah, it feels
It's
very
like
realistic.
Almost, like, it's very well done, very tiny, black and white, the costuming, the actual prosthetic, just
the freaks.
Yeah, like you could trick a small kid that this is a real life story, and that's him, and they would totally believe it because that's how well this movie was done.
Yeah, I like that it does that. I like that it sets you up to almost have the horror movie feel, and then it goes. That's not the story I'm telling.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of why I like the first part, because I really like that whole horror part of it, and then
you don't like horror. That's what I'm kind of shocked about. That's your favorite part, even though you tend to dislike horror movies.
I think for me, it was I just like that part more than the second part, because from the second, like almost the second act, if you will, I kind of was like, okay, I kind of get the storyline. I kind of know where this is going.
You kind of see what the emotional beats are going to be.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I hate to say this, but I don't care enough.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean? Yeah.
I really got into it in the second half. Yeah. I really got
See, I don't know where you fall on this, because you seem 1 second to be like...
Well, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the movie.
I don't like the movie. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, and then you're like, oh, I really like the second half.
Well, I mean, I got to see like really who he was. Like I told you in the beginning.
But when you judge a movie, you're not going... If the first half didn't work for you and the second half did, then that's not I wouldn't recommend this to no one.
No, I get what you're saying, though, because there are some movies I'm like, oh, this couple scenes, I'm like, those are cool. But the whole movie is like...
Yeah, exactly. It's not really like... It wasn't like, oh, my God. Like, the whole entire time I was glued. Like, I fell asleep in the middle of it, then I'm about to rewind it back.
Yeah, like, when we saw Prey, you hated that movie. But, like, you just like, oh, yeah, I like the action scenes that were kind of cool. It's like... You like that, but overall, it's like that.
Yeah, but if you asked me if I would recommend it to someone, I'd be like, yeah, if you want to watch a dumb action movie and turn your brain off, I would say watch it. I'm pretty sure, rewind it, I fucking definitely said that.
Sure.
I didn't say don't watch this fucking movie. I said...
I didn't say don't watch this fucking movie, but
I don't recommend this to anybody.
I won't recommend it to nobody. I'm not going to be, you should watch Elephant Man, it's a great movie. Or it's a decent... No, I'm not going to. I don't think...
Yeah, I don't know that it means literally.
Like,
whenever you're giving these like reviews, all right, this is a whole different conversation. But like, whenever you're giving a review like that, you're not saying like, "Do I think you're gonna meet someone ever and tell them watch Elephant Man?" That's not what it literally means. It's more so like,
oh, I think of it like that.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think of it like that.
I was gonna, like, if I'm talking to someone, I'm like, hey, guess what?
Well, because
Elephant Man was a good movie.
Because you don't think you don't think you're gonna be sitting around and like, because you just never know what's gonna happen. You're gonna meet somebody that's gonna be relevant to.
And at that point, I will tell
But
them.
that's the
you
thing.
should
Like
watch it.
that's the thing.
So then you would recommend it to somebody.
But that's where
And
some
then I would have
movies
been
are.
like, it's a little slow.
Because there's
but-
some movies that are like for anybody, you just general watching, like
Yeah,
know,
you can
and
watch
so you'd be
it,
like,
yeah.
I love this movie. I'm gonna recommend this to you because it's an overall well movie, and I think for most audiences you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
This one, it's like
This is
I'm gonna recommend it to some
Oh,
people.
man, I feel so disappointed.
There's a few what?
Dude, I liked it. I liked it.
Because this movie means so much to me. And the other, let's fucking make another point and then we'll shut down. Because I'm so goddamn disappointed.
Don't be disappointed. Why are you disappointed? I liked it.
You did. I appreciate that. Fuck you. We waited all this time to get you back. We said I missed you on the last podcast.
I know,
and now,
we did.
Hey, you know what? The next one's just gonna be me and Jeremy.
Okay.
No, I'm fucking. Hey, I'm just fucking with you.
I was being honest.
I know you're supposed to. Actually like that you don't agree with me.
I'm
Yes.
just being honest with you. Like
I was excited because I was like, for this podcast, I was like, this is the first time where it's like I'm not like super gung ho about the movie, and
Same
I'm
here.
actually excited to kind of talk about it because I'm not like, oh my gosh, yeah, Elephant Man. You know what
The
I mean?
Road. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Alien.
as opposed to like The Road, I was really pumped. Dude, I'm so upset you were.
We'll
there.
get there. We can do a part 2 and
I
have
wanted
our.
to talk about The Road so much. I really liked that one.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
The movie more than anything else. I like the
book got
movie.
me. I like the book more.
Oh, I like the
But
movie.
hey, we can't talk.
Okay, sorry.
Well, we can shut it down. We can have a conversation
let's-
after we stop filming about what Art thought about The Road. The last thing I wanted to say about this movie, and maybe that's why this hits me in a way, is because I think the underlying theme of this, and again, I'm looking for that all the time. The underlying theme for this, I think, is David Lynch, the director. If you see his other movies, if you happen to see them, they're strange. And I think David Lynch is a pure artist, and I think he's a fucking weirdo. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I'm a weirdo, I think. So I relate to that shit a lot. I relate to people kind of thinking I'm weird. And I think he probably did that. And I think that's why he understood how to make that's why he made the Elephant Man a sympathetic character. That he made this guy that people make assumptions about. Again, it's exaggerated, guys. You're not supposed to do these one-on-one things. It's an underlying thing. It's like he is this weirdo, but when people get to know him, they all like him. But initially, they find him off-putting.
You're our elephant, man.
I was about to say it. You took it off my I was about to say that. So recommend to weirdos. Got you.
I had to, bro. You set it up, man.
Here I am looking like the fucking lead singer of AC/DC. Oh my god. So that's what I think is going on here.
No,
I think he's examining his feeling about, not literally being like abused like that, but like feeling like an outcast and exploring the feeling of that, like not really fitting in. People thinking you're strange, but then everybody kind of like is okay with him once they know him a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what David Lynch was exploring in terms of how he was feeling at the time or whatever. And I think that's maybe why it struck me, because I kind of, not that I feel like people weren't my friend or that I was lonely or anything like that, but I do feel like people always think I'm a little strange, and then they know me and they're like, oh, he's cool, or it's not.
It's a good moral
he's cute.
story. It's a good
What?
reminder.
So he's cute.
He's cute, yeah. No, he's not an elephant man. He's a little elephant. He's an elephant boy.
It's a good moral reminder, right? Because
Not to judge anyone too harshly.
Yes.
you don't know, what somebody is deep down on the inside, and I totally get that with you, because I think a lot of times people judge quick, and you can't do that. You have to really, for face value, make your own distinctions on who this person is, what they're about, what their principles are, and you'll be shocked to find that your first initial assumption of someone is pretty wrong most of the time.
Right.
I think first impressions are huge, right? And obviously for the Elephant Man, he's working at a disadvantage for himself, because everybody's first impression was he's a monster.
He's a monster, yeah.
But it's a good moral reminder that you can't do that. And yeah, this is a great point.
So I think that's what the underlying, and it's not a huge, it's pretty on the nose.
Yeah, it's pretty evident.
It's not like, oh shit, like Alien, we were talking about there being like the pregnancy scare thing, and like there's other stuff there. This is not as like hidden as that. But now that you see Alien, it's like, oh, it's kind of obvious now that you think about it.
I need to rewatch it after.
Yeah, but this one's kind of more so like, oh, the outsider that is misunderstood outsider. That's a pretty common feeling. So I think he was kind of exploring that.
Definitely.
And having that sort of attachment to it in that way was really important for me. And I also think that this adds to that a little bit, and we'll shut it down soon after this. Is that how does he connect with the people he connects with? One of the main ways that he connects with people is through art. When he meets the actress, they do a scene.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's expression. It's, maybe whenever he sits with the one girl that was afraid of him, she drops the food, she drops the oatmeal, because she thinks she's going to see a monster. That girl, the young nurse.
Yeah.
Towards the end when he's building the cathedral, she's kind of like, wow,
yeah,
you made this. And you think her warming up to him, part of it was through interest in art or interest in creation, interest in whatever. And I think that that's a lot of what I like about him as a character too. And like, again, it cements that idea of David Lynch probably feeling like an outsider, but him meeting people and expressing his feelings through working with people by making things together. Whatever happens from here on out within our friendship, we're always going to remember that we did this. We're going to remember that one fucking year where we just made a bunch of podcasts that no one
I don't want it to only be a year.
No, but I mean, I'm saying no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Let's say this is the last what we do. We're always going to remember that we did this.
Oh, yeah. Because we like to connect through art. See, sometimes we do exactly this, not on camera.
We do this off camera all the time.
Camera.
Yeah.
And, it's in a sense, we're just collaborating.
Yeah.
And that's art. We're just
collaborating. We're actually kind of bonding right now, too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, that's kind of...
Hey, come on. Hey, I love you, bro. I love you guys, man. Dude, I love you guys, man.
I don't care how ugly you are.
Everyone is here is you, eh?
All right, guys, I think we're going to get out of here. Anybody that has watched the movie or wants to comment on it, tell us about some things that maybe we forgot to talk about or anything we missed, or if you caught a underlying theme that I missed. If you hate this movie, or if it wasn't, you fell asleep in half of it, or hey, halfway through this podcast you fell asleep. It's okay. Right. We love you guys. We're gonna come back here with something else. We had to discuss what we're gonna do next. I think we know what it is. Should we talk about it?
Let's.
So we discussed talking about Misery.
I think now's where we go.
Misery, Stephen King book, and then they did a movie adaptation, and it'll be the first one we've done about Stephen King, even though I've done some kind of book reviews on the side.
I'm excited.
So Art's a little bit busier this time of year, so you might see kind of me and him, or my sister might jump in on one of these. So that's kind of where we're at, guys. I think we're going to let you go. We can't thank you enough for joining with us, and we really want to see some comments. Talk some shit. Throw some ideas out there. Give us some recommendations, whatever it might be. Like and subscribe, I guess.
Yes, like and subscribe. Thanks for the 34 subscribers, you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. We love you.
See ya.